Security agencies are on ground to clamp down on road, street training, commercial bosses, illegal parking, and all taking place around the Dumota going towards TBS access. That's the PRO of LASMA, who just called in to give us the information. And I'm sure we certainly would follow up on this development to know how it is going around that end. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This morning on Accelerate Lagos, I have, you know how it is, the program comes to your listen pleasure at exactly 10:15, 10:20, thereabouts on Wednesdays, and we talk about the issues regarding businesses, and this has been brought to you by Lagos State Government and Accelerate Lagos. Today on the program, my guest and I will be taking a look at tax incentives and its impact on business. And in the studio with me this morning to have this conversation, I have Mr. Alex Akeze, Assistant Director of Taxes, Government Business Audit, Lagos, and of course, Federal Inland Revenue Service. Good morning to you and welcome to Accelerate Lagos.
Good morning.
And great to have you here in the studio.
Oh, thank you.
Hope it wasn't so difficult for you to locate our studio.
No, because my office is actually right behind you.
Oh, great.
And there's where my office is situated is in Oregon, so I know this place very well.
All right, great to have you here in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Let's delve straight into the conversation this morning. Now, a lot of businesses are taking place in Lagos, and that's why we're looking at tax incentives and its impact on business. Now, describe to me your role at the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Mr. Felix.
Okay. My name is Felix Akeze, Assistant Director, FIRS. My role as an assistant director in government business audit is actually limited to government businesses. Government businesses pursue their operations with the larger public.
Okay, you interact with the larger public and of course government.
And government, yes.
For how long have you been doing that?
I've been in service for upward of 30 years.
30 years. And so far, how has it been?
Challenging, but very, very, how would I put it? It's challenging, but interesting to see the challenges being surmounted, and then the innovations that are coming to FRS during my stay are tremendous.
Oh, great to know.
It's like from a cake to, modern day.
Like revolving from one generation
ancient and modern.
All right, so you've been on for both generation from
Exactly.
the ancient and the modern time.
And we are now cruising ultrasound.
Going all the way.
Right now.
All right, so it's a great one for you to be involved in both generation, both changes and reform from the ancient one now to the modern one, and what is being done from the FIRS. Now, for many Nigerians, FIRS is just all about taxes, but not much is known about the agency's broader activities. Could you explain to us what FIRS does and its core responsibilities?
Yes. Like I said, I've been through the ancient and modern, and prior to my joining FRS was not something I really wanted to know. However, the agency is a very critical one to government running. What the agency does, as dictated by the Act, is that we are supposed to assess, collect, and account for taxes in Nigeria, thereby providing revenue for the federal government expenditures. What are our core responsibilities? Tax assessment and collection. When I say tax assessment and collection, I mean FRS assesses and collects various taxes, including personal income tax, PIT. The PIT majorly that FRS collects is in terms of police and armed forces, and then Abuja. We don't collect personal income taxes for states and ordinary people.
Okay.
That is the prerogative of the LIRS or the IRS of the various states.
Okay.
Now, we have the types of taxes we collect and we assess and collect include personal income tax, company income tax, value-added tax, withholding taxes, capital gain tax, etc. Tax policy and advisory is another core function, responsibility of FRS, whereby we provide tax policy advice to the federal government and participate in the development of tax laws and regulations.
Okay.
Now, what does this do? This helps to modernize us from ancient to modern.
Okay.
It's the tax policy that has brought us this far.
That could transcend from back then to now.
Yeah, to now. Now, then we have the tax registration and identification. FRS maintains a database of registered taxpayers, assign unique taxpayer identification numbers, that is a TIN, and verifies taxpayer information. Then we have the tax compliance and enforcement. FRS ensures compliance with tax laws and regulations through audit, investigation, and enforcement activities.
Okay.
Revenue accounting and reporting. Now, the taxes being collected, you have to account for it. In what sense? Like last year, FRS was known to have collected 21.6 billion or thereabout.
Of course, huge money is always associated with FIRS. Huge money, huge money.
Yes, because FRS has to step up. You know, the oil revenue has dropped, it has dwindled. It's really next to nothing as a revenue for federal government. So FRS has to step up and bridge the gap. So today I can categorically tell you that FRS provides the funding of government expenditure to be very conservative. 75% of government expenditure is being financed through FRS operations.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a whole. That's a whole lot. It's a whole lot that you do, and it's a whole lot that is also being expected of you as an organization. Now, the concept of taxes can be very overwhelming for business owners. How can you describe what are the various types that exist? Talking about the concept of taxes, what are the various types that exist?
Thank you very much. Now, tax is a mandatory payment made by individuals, businesses, to government to fund public goods and services. Taxes are used to support various government activities such as infrastructural development, education, healthcare, defense, social welfare programs, etc. There are majorly two types of taxes, or taxes are categorized into two major categories. We have the direct tax and we have the indirect tax.
Okay. Explain it to us as a layman.
Yes. Under the direct tax, we have the income tax. You earn, they deduct your, tax, payee, through payee.
So that's talking like salaries.
Salaries, basically.
Yeah.
Your income. Then we have the corporate income tax, where companies have, at the end of every financial year, they have to declare their profits, from which a certain percentage is deducted depending on what threshold they belong to. Now we have the wealth tax, we have inheritance tax, we have the capital. Some of these things fall under the capital gains tax. Then we have the indirect tax, which is the way to go in our present day economy.
Okay.
We have the value-added tax. Why do people prefer internationally, worldwide, global world practice? People prefer the indirect tax because you pay in bits, and then you won't feel it. It's always placed on your consumption pattern.
Okay.
So if you consume less, you pay less. Sort of. So we have which value-added tax is the major, the big fan there.
Okay.
Then we have the sales tax, we have excise tax, we have custom duty, we have property tax, and do I need to explain some of these taxes?
We certainly will talk about it, but let's move on to my next question for you, which is, for me as a business owner right here in Lagos, what are the benefits of me paying tax to the pockets of FRS and the government? What do I stand to benefit? What's my gain of paying those taxes?
Payment of tax is like the air you breathe.
Well, we don't pay for the air we breathe. God gave it to us freely.
It's free. That what I'm trying to say, well, by relating it like that, is that it's something you have to do, to exist, to sustain. Take for instance, they say there's no freedom without the law.
Okay.
There's no freedom without the law. I'm trying to relate it. Now, you find out for the government to run, it has to be funded. So there cannot be a government without funding. Where is this funding going to come from? It's the oldest form of funding for government.
Okay.
You pay taxes, and then certain things, there's some amenities, we enjoy good road, good hospital care, education, affordable to the common man. Yeah, we have all these things in private sectors. They make business, they make profits. But is it affordable to the common man? No. It is the government that comes to bring what is affordable to the high and mighty,
Yes.
available to the common man. The fish seller whose children must go to school cannot access certain private school.
Yes.
It is a government school, it has to access.
Okay. And all of this is coming from the profits from taxes being paid by business owners and also residents.
Yes, government is the biggest employer of labor. They have to pay salaries.
Okay.
And we now have a minimum tax at 70,000 naira.
So all of this has to be gotten from every sources and taxes majorly.
Yes.
Is what funds is for government.
Yes. And then the good thing about payment of taxes is that you cannot tie the tax you pay to the provision of a particular amenity made by government. It's a pool of fund which the government decides, okay, this is where we're going to channel this amount of money, this is where we're going to finance this, we're going to finance that, just like that.
So it's more like taking bit by bit from business owners and for people, putting it together and providing social amenities for the people.
For everybody, both the business people paying the taxes and those who are yet to be paying taxes.
All right. Well, sir, the program you're listening to is Accelerate Lagos on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Let's quickly take a look at the traffic situation on the road this time. We got a call from PRO of Last Mile letting us know that enforcement team are ongoing around Idumota access and also around TBS against illegal parking, against street traders and others taking place. So we have the security agencies all out around Idumota access and TBS. of course, all the parts of the road that we're monitoring at this time. There is an accident around Mile 12 axis, a broken down high-capacity Primero bus having a red tire problem at Mile 12 in what could chauffeur on the main carriageway. It hasn't managed to the side of the road. It is not affecting vehicular movement as of this time. The movement in what K2 is good at the moment, while we have our personnel on ground doing the needful. Also, Ibejuleki access says movement on the stretch of Eleko Road is high on this side, and that's due to ongoing road construction coupled with influx of articulated vehicles. Eleko Junction in what Musheyu connecting Magbo is quite better, while free trade zone around Dangote Refinery deep sea port access is approachable at this time. And finally, Lagos Badagry Expressway, the reports coming there says traffic has finally subsided at Abule Ado in Ward Mile 2, and normalcy has been fully restored. Both the service lane and the main carriageway are good to go. Good vehicular movement is being observed there, while we have our traffic managers well positioned doing the needful. And still to remind you that the enforcement team around Idumota is being led by the general manager of LASMA, Mr. Olalikon Bakariuki, and other important members of the LASMA operations and the security team clamping down on street trading and illegal parking. And yes, we certainly will follow up on that report to let you know how it is going around that end. So motorists should please be patient if they're experiencing slow movement around that axis. It's because of the enforcement team at work around Idumota, TBS, and Enviros. Accelerate Lagos is the program you are listening to, and my guest and I in the studio this morning. Of course, my name is Dayo Anthony, standing in for Taiwo Barua, and we're looking at tax incentives and its impact on business. And my guest in the studio this morning, Mr. Felix Akese, Assistant Director of Taxes, Government Business Audit, Lagos Federal Inland Revenue Service. And together, we're discussing on the incentives and impact on business. Now, going forward with our discussion, Mr. Felix, what are some of the common type of tax incentives that small business owners in Nigeria can benefit from, and how can they go about it?
Okay. So, talking about tax incentives.
The types of the common types that we have, and how business owners, small business owners in Nigeria can benefit from it.
Now, first, let me say what tax incentive is and the types available. Then we'll now see what, which of them that is can be assessed by the small businesses. Though there's no categorization, it's just about they are being packaged appropriately. Now, what is tax incentive? Tax incentive is any measurable advantage accorded to specific enterprises or categories of businesses by government in order to encourage them to behave in a certain manner. For the purpose of this program, we will define tax incentive as special tax provision put in place by the government to indirectly support investors. Relevant tax legislations, because these incentives must be backed by certain level of legislation for it to be enforceable. Well, some of these legislation supporting tax incentive in Nigeria include the Industrial Development Act, Companies Income Tax Act, Cap C21, LFN 2007 as amended. Let me not go too technical.
No, don't go too. Just leave it.
We have
liberal.
the value added tax, VAT, and then as amended, and then some of the finance acts that have been also passed. Now, why tax incentive? To attract, maintain, increase, and stimulate investment in target sectors of the economy, expansion of domestic production capacity, protect existing foreign and local investments from unfair competitions. Now, tax incentives are a vital component of government taxation policies aimed at stimulating specific economic activities by reducing tax obligations. Some of these tax incentives include We have what we call the tax holiday. We have capital allowance granted, small and medium company incentives, exemption of certain products.
All right, let me come in and say what is tax holiday?
Okay, tax holiday is a concession given by government to either a product or a company, or a company in order to encourage it to increase its production and activities, which the government at certain times feel maybe the economy needs in order for the economy to grow in a certain direction.
So if I get that correctly, it's like a waiver for the company.
A waiver for payment of company income tax, education tax, and company income tax and education tax, in line with VAT, that is value added tax, in line placed or on incomes earned from the production of a certain product or by the company that has been exempted. Let's take, for instance, we have the cement factory.
Okay.
You know, the cement factory has been enjoying, if you want to go into the production of cement, you apply appropriately, going through all the
the
formalities.
Right channels.
Yeah, you will be granted a 3 years tax holiday. Why? Because we need more cement factories in this country.
So this holiday is coming from the beginning, or
from the time when the approval is given.
Okay.
You could start production. That is why they have what they call production day dates,
Okay.
which is where the tax exemption begins from.
Okay.
Because you must tell the Ministry of Industry granting that to your production date.
So
they will determine your production date.
So this granting of tax holiday come from your organization, from FRS, or where exactly?
No. It's not from my organization, though we advise.
Okay.
It's from Ministry of Industries.
Okay.
They grant it. And it's for 3 years, and then subsequently, upon application, for additional 2 years. Altogether is a 5-year tax holiday.
So this can be broken to when the production starts, probably 4 or 5 years after, you can still have that tax holiday, or how is it being observed?
The first tranche is 3 years. You're granted tax holiday for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
Then if you apply and you scale through the application, they will grant you additional 2 years. So the tax holiday in Nigeria granted to any company or product is a maximum of 5 years.
Okay, for these holidays to be granted, what's the worth or the level that the organization produces, or the income that will be generated from that organization? Is there a specification to it before the holiday can be granted?
It's quite detailed. In most cases, you find that exemptions, tax holidays, exemptions are more on products, because you find that some companies do not produce just one item.
Yeah.
So if we want cement, for instance, it is that cement that is produced that is exempted.
Okay.
If they go into the production of barite alongside cement, that one is not exempted.
Okay.
It's cement
that has the exemption.
That has that exemption, tax holiday. So it is very technical. So you need professionals, tax consultants. A company cannot go through it on its own. It's something that you need a consultant to help you package.
The people with the right knowledge.
With the right knowledge, yes.
Right, to put you all together. Yes. Accelerate Lagos on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. My guest and I in the studio are discussing tax incentives and its impact on your business. And my guest that you have been hearing his voices, Mr. Alex Akese. Felix Akeze, beg your pardon, Assistant Director of Taxes, Government Business Audit, Lagos Federal Inland Revenue Service. Of course, you can join our conversation if you are a business owner and you want to, get enlightened on how you can be participants or you can benefit from the tax incentives on your business. You can call the number 09153877127. Again, 09153877127 is the number for you to reach us in the studio and have a discussion with my guest. Well, in the meantime, let me quickly go back to the roads and let you know what is happening on the roads this morning. And taking it from the Badagry axis, traffic has finally subsided around Abliato inward Mile 2. Normalcy has been fully restored. Both the service lane and the main carriageway are now good for vehicular movements, while traffic managers are strategically positioned, doing the needful adequate work ongoing. Around the Bejuleki axis, movements on the stretch of Eleko Road is on the high side due to ongoing road construction, coupled with influx of articulated vehicles. Now, Eleko Junction inward Mushayu connecting Magbo is quite better. Free trade zone connecting Dangote Refinery all the way to Deep Seaport access is approachable. Men on ground doing the needful and ensuring you have a good movement. And we also want to remind you that we have the LASMA enforcement team ongoing around the Dumota access going towards TBS and the Enviros. And this is led by the LASMA GM, Mr. Lalikon Bakarioki, and other personnel at LASMA, ensuring that they're clamping down on illegal parking on roadside business commercials being taking place by the side of the road. All of this obstructing movements of motorists is what they are clamping down on around the Dumota connecting TBS and other parts of that access. We'll keep you updated about the situation. So if you're around that area and having slow movement, please be a bit patient with us and, of course, with the traffic managers, as what they are doing is for the betterment of everyone. Like I said, if you want to join our conversation, feel free to call the number 09153877127. That's the number for you to be part of our discussion this morning right here in the studio with my guest, Mr. Felix Akeze. What we're discussing on the issues relating to business, that is tax incentives and its impact on your business. As a business owner, are you paying your taxes? As a business owner, do we have to come after you? Do they have to come after you before you pay your taxes? As a small-scale business owner or as a major business owner, do you always pay your taxes? Or there are issues in which you encounter in the process of paying taxes and you don't have clarification? You can reach out to us in the studio this morning and speak to my guest. Now, Mr. Felix, are there incentives also accessible to businesses operating in the informal sector?
Yes, there are. Let me put it this way: there's an incentive for small and medium company incentive. It's a small and medium company incentive whereby a small business is a company with annual gross turnover of 25 million or less. Such companies are exempted from companies' income tax completely, and tertiary education tax, provided they are registered for tax. Those are the conditions. You see, there's so much money in the informal sector, so as you put it, if I go by that definition.
Yeah.
But I want to limit myself to the small businesses, not informal, because when you say informal, it means they have not yet formalized their existence in the eyes of FIRS for them to see them. So when you are not seen, how can you assess the benefits?
So you have to get into the system.
Yes,
you have to get registered.
You need to come into the tax net for us to see you and say, oh, this is where you are. This is where benefits are accruable to you. So this is how we are going to,
go about it. And this is how you get your benefits.
Exactly. So for those who are seen, at the end of the day, it is best for a company to be seen.
Okay.
Tax is something now that there's no way you go. The technology being deployed by my ECFIRS today is so that it will be difficult to avoid paying tax because your income in one leg is an expenditure to another person.
So I want you to, how do I put it? I want you to convince me. Now, like we said, we have the informal sector where some people believe, oh, they don't know about my existence, so I don't have to pay tax. So convince me or speak to those listening on why they should pay the tax and the benefit of paying tax to government.
Okay, let's start by, these are the incentives first. The incentives are part of what you need to know. Take, for instance, let's take Idumota, Lagos Island, that market there.
Yeah.
It's a multi-trillion naira market. And I can tell you for sure that most of them are informal in nature. Now, they might assume, I don't know how they make their business. I'm not used to informal sector stuff. But if you look at it, their assumed profit is more than what it is. But somebody, an alaja selling lace, comes one day, says, please send this money to my son in this. Nobody is recording it. Send $1 million to my son, blah, blah, blah. The person sending it sends $1 million and takes 2 million and puts in his pocket. Who records it? But because the business is booming, it's not going, the owner does not know what the capital outlay is, what percentage of profit margin he's making. As long as he's making marginal, he believes it's okay. He's able to meet all what is around, expenses around him or her, and he thinks it's okay. But if it is formalized, you find that you will be able to, you will know what you are investing, what you are expecting as profit margin, and where you are going to take the profit to. By the time you know what is happening, you are bigger than large, than just sitting down and, I call it, going round and round in a circle, in a spot.
I think you're
doing business,
the right thing. And some people also say it like, okay, so government didn't help me open my business, so why should I pay tax to government?
Yeah, you could look at it from that perspective. It's very parochial, but if you open it up, you find out that, okay, government did not help you open your business. That's true. How did you make the money in the first place?
Buying and selling. That's
Buying
right.
and selling. And you are alive. If there's no security, would you be able to put together the amount of money to get to that point where you are bigger than buying and selling?
I'm doing things in the right way.
If the banks are not in place for you to take loan from, the banks are bigger, they are more corporate and more formal, getting security, the workers be able to go to work as at when due, the technology development of the country being pushed forward, making them being viable. All these are, we have information technology tax, NITDF. That is part of what it's all about.
Okay.
So if you're not directly enjoying it, you are indirectly enjoying it.
And you have to contribute your own quota to it. Let me quickly check this report that just came in. Around Ikeja axis, there is a broken down tipper loaded with white sand beside the General Hospital Bridge in front of Aviation Plaza, inward local airport road. This is slightly affecting vehicular movements backwards. The owner is sighted working on it and it cannot be told. We have the traffic managers on ground managing traffic situation around there. So motorists should just be on the lookout around that axis. Well, Mr. Felix, that's a roundup on the program this morning. What's your advice and what's your final take on this discussion?
Well, I will want to say it pays to pay your tax, because if you pay your tax, you'll have more benefits available to you, be you informal or formal.
Okay.
For the informal, I will advise that they meet with
Okay.
the professionals who will help them tidy up their books
Okay.
and bring them to being formal. By tidying their books, their finances are put in proper format and maintained accurately. Keep detailed, organized financial records, including income, expenses, tax-related documents. Use accounting softwares. Utilize accounting software. Then they can plan ahead.
All right. All right. They can plan ahead. We'll have to round off right now. But thank you so much.